despite the fact that the Ravens have not played, and they'll play Saturday night against the Detroit Lions. But the Orioles getting the first part of the National Series off to a nice start, and then the bad news hit. On Tuesday night, it was became known that Chris Tillman's injury was just as bad as we thought it was. He is headed to the DL. Here to talk all things Baltimore sports. You know him over at Coons Ford of Security Boulevard, and the guy who helps us with our WNST tech service. He also drives you home on Thursday from 3 until 5. We welcome Dennis Colatzos back on to talk a little local sports here, and plenty in the hopper this week, right, Den? Plenty on the menu.
Lots of stuff happening. As always, it's a great time to be a sports fan, particularly here in Charm City.
All right, so let's start with the beginning. I mean, the Orioles' playoff aspirations, their pennant hopes, really dependent upon, in my opinion, a number one starter that they barely had in Tillman. This is probably, other than maybe Machado or like that, this is the worst news an Oriole fan can get, that Chris Tillman isn't right, because when you consider who's going to replace him and what's going to happen over the next 2 or 3 starts, Ubaldo Jimenez is next man up. That's not a good scenario, Den.
No, not when you have the Royals sitting there 4 games back for the American League second wild card. Bad news, particularly now with the Orioles bats coming alive. They've been hot the last couple of games, and for our ace to go down, just a very inopportune time for this injury to happen to him.
Same thing with the Nationals with Strasburg, right? I mean, this is 2 franchises in the corridor, both harboring thoughts of playing in a World Series, if not this year, sometime soon. The Orioles thing's starting to sputter, and I don't know. The offense bringing it together, that's fine, but who's going to pitch? We're back to that spring training question all over again, with the likes of Jimenez and Bundy and Gallardo now being absolutely counted on to take the ball every 5th day.
Yeah, when you're thin to begin with your starting pitching, you just cannot afford an injury like this. 15 days is a long time, as you mentioned, 2 or 3 starts. That's a lot of starts for him, particularly this time of the season. Devastating loss for the Orioles. Very inopportune time for this to happen to them.
Well, I would say the other thing is we don't know that he's actually going to be right 2 weeks from now.
Yep,
you're talking about a pitcher. You're talking about issues that send you to the DL at this particular time. There's no timetable on 2 weeks being all that's going to be. Yeah, it's one of the things about baseball. With football, the reporters say, well, is it 4 to 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks? In baseball, they're like, well, we'll just put him on the 15-day DL. We'll call you in 2 weeks and let you know how he's doing. That doesn't mean it's a 15-day injury.
Yeah, that's a very good point, Nestor. This big distinction between baseball and football in terms of how they announce the injuries and whatnot.
For the Ravens on Saturday night, Dennis, some thoughts about where you are sitting, and I know this is the always important 3rd preseason game. Certainly the most important thing is just Flacco and how the offense begins to look, because the next time we see it, we're going to be out there for real with the Buffalo Bills.
Now, no question about it, Nestor. Joe Flacco getting a start that's been reported the last couple of days. It'll be great to see him on the field for the first time, facing live action, hopefully the first string of the Detroit Lions, and we'll see what Terrell Austin and company have to bring him. Want to see how the offensive line holds up. Our new left tackle, Ronnie Stanley. Hopefully, he's done a good job so far this season, the first 2 preseason games, and hopefully he can keep Joe upright. Hopefully they can run the ball well. I'd like to see Joe get some timing down with some of the newer guys, Mike Wallace in particular. I'd like to see a couple of deep shots. Chris Moore, 4th-round draft pick, rookie, getting downfield. Brashard Perriman, don't expect to see him. In fact, I don't want to see him until the first game of the season. To me, the fact that he's off the PUP list is very, very big. If they didn't think he was ready, because I had a lot of people ask me the last couple of days, what does it mean? Look, if he wasn't ready, he wasn't ready. They feel that the knee's strong enough for him to get back out there. He's chomping at the bit to get out there and catch some balls from Joe Flacco, but I really want to see this guy in the opener against the Buffalo Bills in the first game of the season.
Well, I would say the one thing that I have found encouraging since camp open, right? It opens with no Suggs, really no Doomerville, certainly no Perryman. Some of these guys, and Steve Smith, of course, who I saw last week. Just Smith, Suggs, Perryman. If the 3 of those guys are on the field against the Bills and contributing to whatever level they can contribute at this point, but they're doing it with full health, I would say the off-season concerns would be alleviated. And I didn't expect all those guys to be running around in late July. And obviously, when it's Flacco, he needs to be out there as the quarterback and has been and has done it very healthfully. These other guys have been the longest wait. We're still waiting. We're 2 weeks out on the opener, and they're still not out there. But if they're out there on the 11th, then that if Suggs can go out there and play 35 plays, if Steve Smith can go out there and catch 2 balls on the opener, if Perryman can go out there and run a couple of routes and catch a ball the opening week, and they beat the Bills, then, all is well on September 11th in the morning of the 12th.
Yeah, all these football players you just mentioned, at least at the onset of the season, they're all situational football players. They're not going to go in there and play the entire game. They'll have to play a limited amount of snaps. I mean, I think John Harbaugh's going to put all of them on a pitch count, if you will, until they get more acclimated. Their injuries heal even more so as the season progresses. And the Ravens certainly have enough depth. I mean, I can see them certainly running a 21 offense, 2 tight ends, 1 running back. They have enough tight ends. Crockett Gilmore, Ben Watson, maybe. You can flank them out. You can copy the Patriots' offense as well from 2012. A lot of things they can do, so I'm very excited to see them get on the field. They certainly have receivers healthy enough, Kamar Aiken, Jerry Butler, that can get out there and give them some solid starts. But to me, it starts and ends with the offensive line for the Ravens. And also the defensive line, they certainly have Timmy Jernigan, Brandon Williams, Lawrence Guy. They have some depth there. Carl Davis, that's my dark horse for this year. Hopefully he'll have a big season. But you bring in Suggs and Dumerville off the edge in situational pass rushing situations. That'll go a long way. The nice thing is, Nestor, the only players of note so far that are injured is Matt Elam, and it's unfortunate because it seemed like the light bulb was starting to turn on for this young man. And also Dennis Pittett's got that finger injury now that's looming bigger. But again, they have depth at safety, they have depth at tight end, so they're about as good as they've been in a long time at this point of the season. Last year, 17 injuries completely decimated this team. This team is relatively healthy, and that's exciting news halfway through the preseason.
Sort of a fun homecoming here for a bunch of guys, not the least of which you mentioned Terrell Austin, you mentioned Jim Caldwell, but Anquan Bolden coming back on Saturday night. He'll probably catch a pass. Haloti Ngata running around. Josh Bynes running around. There's a lot of Super Bowl 47 floating in on this Honolulu Blue flight this weekend.
Oh, absolutely. It'll be a lot of fun, and again, for me, I'm the guy with the binoculars looking at the line plays. I key on the guards. They take me to where the ball is most of the time, unless they're running some misdirection, et cetera. But it'll be a lot of fun to see those guys on the sideline, see what they have to throw at us, and see how far along Joe Flacco is from his knee surgery. By all accounts, he looks great. He looks super. You can hardly tell that he had any kind of surgery, and the only giveaway is that brace on his leg.
Well, and we'll see him slinging it, as he likes to say, on Saturday night. Lions coming to town. Dennis Colossus here from Coons Ford of Security Boulevard. And I know one thing, our text service will be rocking and rolling this weekend with Ravens cuts for sure. And the Orioles expanding to 40-man next week. There will be things happening around here, not the least of which was Chris Tillman going on the DL. And, of course, our text service is brought to you by Coons Ford of Security Boulevard. Dennis is here every Thursday, driving you home from 3 until 5 with the Sunday Sports Voice on WNST. What's going on at Coons Ford, Den?
Man, we're going bonkers here at Coons Ford of Baltimore. We play championship football, if you will, and baseball year round. We only close 2 holidays.
Every day's the World Series in the Super Bowl when you own a business, right?
Every single day. You know what I'm talking about, brother. But right now, Ford is supporting us with 0% for 72 months plus cash back. It's the biggest sale of the year. Labor Day is coming up. We have specials and everything. We have people flying in all over the country. You see our social media page. We post them. They're taking planes, trains, and automobiles to get here. And also our local customers, when they come in here, 9 times out of 10, they leave with a brand new or pre-loved vehicle. Just built a new paint booth for my body shop. I mean, I'm telling you, business is great. I want to thank everybody out there, WNST, all of our sponsors and affiliates and partners. Referrals and repeat business is where it's at. And again, I'm just very humble and grateful that everybody comes to Coons Baltimore Ford for all of their automotive needs.
Well, I'm grateful that you give me the term pre-loved. It used to be a used car, then it was pre-owned. You've upgraded it to pre-loved. I love that.
Pre-loved, man. You know what? It's new to somebody, right? So everybody's got a budget. Not everybody can afford a $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 vehicle. So people in the $5, $10, $15, $20 range, they can still get a nice pre-loved automobile with a nice warranty that'll give them great service. And the other part of it, we stand behind what we sell. We take care of our customers, way after the pen comes off the paper.
Well, I tell you what, pre-loved, and, we'll get everybody out there to Coons Ford Security Boulevard. And, of course, if you're on our text service, you always are in the know for it. It's going to be busy this week, right? I mean, the Ravens are going to be chopping some wood here. Saturday night's a big night for a bunch of these young guys running around. I mean, we sort of lose sight of it. We're sort of bored with it in the second half, but guys are fighting for jobs.
Oh, absolutely. Also guys like Eric Weddle and Ben Watson, they're also beloved, and Mike Wallace. So they're not homegrown. So there's a lot of similarity between what we do and what the Baltimore Ravens do.
Well driven, well driven. Great having you on,
Thank you,
Den.
sir.
Take care of yourself. We will see you on Thursday afternoon as we always do here.
My pleasure. Thanks again, Nestor.
You got it. Dennis Kolatzis of Coonsford of Security Boulevard joining us here. Don't forget, you can email me anytime, anywhere. I am a very available individual. Nasty at WNST.net. I am pre-loved and currently loved and loathed throughout the internet. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram, as well as streaming live on YouTube on our WNST TV page, as well as on Facebook Live. I'm Nestor. We are WNST.net, AM 1570 and WNST Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore sports.